Hola clase. Today we are talking about los verbos irregulares en el pretérito or irregular preterite verbs. So these are some verbs different than the ones that we've been studying, but they will be very familiar to you, and they just have some irregular forms in the preterite. All right, algunas cosas para saber, some things to know. There are 4 verbs in this category. They are ir, the verb to go, ser, the verb to be, dar, the verb to give, and ver, the verb to see. Now, one good thing there is in this category is that there are no accent marks to worry about. All right, but let's go see how these verbs are going to conjugate out. All right, so the first we have ir, the verb ir, all right, not an ir ending, but the verb ir, to go, and ser, to be. All right, now these two verbs have the same exact conjugation forms. All right, and they are yo fui, tú fuiste, él, ella, usted fue, nosotros fuimos, and ellos, ellas, ustedes fueron. All right. Say them with me, okay? Yo fui. Tú fuiste. Él, ella, usted fue. Nosotros fuimos. Ellos, ellas, ustedes fueron. Muy bien. All right. I have 2 things that I want to talk about pronunciation-wise. All right. The first is with fui and fue. Sometimes people have the tendency to flip these pronunciations. So they will write this, F-U-I, and pronounce it fue, and that is incorrect. All right. With an I, it should be fui. All right. Other times we'll have people who write this with an E, F-U-E, and say fui, because they're used to E's sounding like E. All right, and that's not the case in Spanish. All right, so F-U-E is fue, F-U-I, fui. Yo fui, él fue. The other common mispronunciation I hear a lot of times is in the ellos, ellas, ustedes form with fueron. And we're so used to that I-E-R-O-N ending that sometimes people like to keep this I in this ending here, and they'll say fueron, also because it's kind of like fui, fuiste, and fuimos. But again, this is a mispronunciation. If you put an I in there, there is no I, it's just fueron. All right, so fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fueron. Now, you're looking at these and probably thinking, okay, so we have 2 verbs with the same conjugation forms. How are we ever going to tell the difference? Well, that means we need to look into our sentence for context clues to see if we're talking about somewhere we went, in which case we use the verb ir, or if it's something we were, in which case we use ser. The majority of the time, however, when we see these conjugation forms here, we're actually going to be using ir, to go. A lot of times ser, and this is the reason I have this asterisk here, a lot of times ser in the past will be in the imperfect. I'll write it up here for you. A lot of times. All right, it'll be in the imperfecto, where we had era, eras, era, éramos, eran. All right, and we'll get into the uses between the preterite and the imperfect later on in the year, but right now you just have to know these forms and how to use them. So for now, whenever you see ser, we're going to be using the preterito. Okay? So looking for those context clues. Well, here's some examples. All right, if I say yo fui a la farmacia, all right, I went to the pharmacy. In this case, fui, referring to went. All right, I know I'm using ir because I went somewhere. Okay, I went to a place. A lot of times we'll have a location after our verb. All right, location. My other example, ayer fue divertido. Fue, yesterday was fun. All right, I know I'm using ser because yesterday was something. All right, it refers to yesterday, ayer. All right. If we're using ser, we'll usually have some kind of an adjective. Most likely. All right. So that way you can see the difference between ir and ser. All right. But luckily for two verbs, you have one form for each to learn. All right. So now we have dar, the verb to give, and ver, the verb to see. These verbs have the same conjugation forms except for the first letter, all right, which you can see here. So we'll go through, all right. We'll do dar first. I'll highlight them for you so you can see a little bit better. And then as we say them, I'll erase. So say these with me, all right? You have yo di. Tú diste. Él, ella, usted dio. Nosotros dimos. Ellos, ellas, ustedes dieron. Muy bien. All right. And then our lovely verb, ver, to see. Highlight these. All right, so the same endings as before, just instead of a D, we have a V. So we have yo vi, tú viste, él, ella, usted vio, nosotros vimos, ellos, ellas, ustedes vieron. Muy bien. All right. So you'll notice that these two verbs follow the regular ER and IR endings, just they don't have any accent marks, particularly in the yo forms and the el, ella, usted. You have the I, iste, io, imos, ieron. All right. So that's really the only reason ver is irregular is no accent marks. Otherwise, it has the same endings, which you already know. All right. That makes dar irregular because one, no accents, but also because it's an AR verb following those ER, IR endings. That's it. It's just those four verbs. So let me show you some examples here. So because they do have different forms, we don't have to worry about any context clues of how to use them. So I'm just going to give you examples. The first one is an example of dar. Nosotros dimos regalos, or we gave gifts. All right, remember this is in the past. Ellos vieron una película. They saw a movie. All right.